Good day, ladies. This is Menopause Taylor bringing you the state of menopause in the world today. And I trust that this podcast finds you in good health. I know you're interested in doing whatever you can to attain and maintain the best of health. And this is yet another podcast tutorial to enable you to do just that. And we live in a funny world. So many of the things you assume are not as you might expect. In the last few podcasts, I have given you all sorts of information on vitamins, minerals, dietary supplements, and herbs for menopause. And most people use at least one of those things to maintain good health. Now, all of the products within the vitamin, mineral, supplement, and herbal industry belong to the wellness industry. And most people view them as natural. They assume that because they can buy them over the counter without a prescription, and because they can use them without a doctor's supervision, they must be harmless. But this podcast is going to teach you how this industry works. This podcast is entitled Surprises in the Supplement Industry, because knowing how it works will help you achieve your goals no matter what they are. If you've ever taken any kind of vitamin, mineral, supplement, or herb, you need to listen to this podcast. And you should listen to it even if you think you'll ever want to take one of those things. See, this is practical, factual information that you have every right to know. But unfortunately, I've discovered that most people know none of the things I'm going to teach you today. So let's play a little game here. I'll pose some statements and you tell me if they're true or false. And I'll explain each one as we go. So here's the first one. Vitamins, minerals, supplements, and herbs are regulated by a branch of the FDA that is separate from pharmaceutical products. True or false? That's false. None of these are regulated by the FDA. In fact, they are regulated as a class of foods rather than as drugs. In fact, if you really look closely, you'll find a disclaimer after all claims on all of these products. It's usually in really tiny print, and you may need a magnifying glass to actually read it, but it's there. It's usually in a rectangular box, and it says, this statement has not been evaluated by the US FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So these products have absolutely nothing to do with the FDA. They do not adhere to any governmental regulatory standards. And if you ever see a claim that says a product is, quote, made in an FDA-approved facility, you should know that that's not true. And that's because the FDA does not approve facilities. And here's another critical fact. It is the manufacturer of the product who does the regulating for all vitamins, minerals, dietary supplements, and herbs. Now that should at least give you pause if it doesn't shock you completely. Because think about what that means. That's like having students police themselves instead of providing teachers to police them. It means that oversight is lacking. It means that the rules for the entire industry are slack or lacking. So never assume that any of the supplemental products you buy over the counter are regulated in any way close to the way pharmaceutical products or drugs are regulated. They aren't. The standard for product safety in the world of supplemental products is something called Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMPs. The goal of good manufacturing practices is to ensure identity, purity, strength, and composition of products. But the problem is that manufacturers have fought against this because it increases their costs. So it has been reduced to inspecting paperwork rather than inspecting the actual facilities or the actual products. So even though they are good in theory, here are the truths about good manufacturing practices. Good manufacturing practices do not guarantee safety of the product. And good manufacturing practices have nothing to do with whether a product works. Good manufacturing practices do not change how supplements are labeled. And many supplemental products still fail to meet the quality standards when tested by independent organizations. So the bottom line is that vitamins, minerals, supplements, and herbs only have to conform to the rules of their marketplace, not to the rules of federal law. Okay, are you ready for the next true-false question? Isn't this fun? The claims written on supplemental product labels are accurate and reliable. True or false? It's false. The claims on supplemental products are hedged with qualifiers based on little or no evidence. All efforts to require accurate claims get shot down by manufacturers who argue that their freedom of speech is limited by these impositions. So I just told you that the manufacturers have to include a disclaimer after claiming that a product can accomplish certain goals. But there are some claims that are allowed. The current rule is that they may only make what we call structure, function, or health maintenance claims. Now you're probably thinking, what in the world does that mean? Well, let me give you some examples. The label cannot say reduces depression, but it can say helps improve your mood. The label cannot say prevents cardiovascular disease, but it can say maintains a healthy circulatory system. A label cannot say lowers cholesterol, but it can say maintains cholesterol in a healthy range. And the label cannot say prevents cold and flu, but it can say supports the immune system. You see the difference? So I'm going to bet that in each of those cases, you read the claim as meaning exactly what it is not allowed to claim. So the problem with these products is that they're misleading because people don't realize that they are worded in just such a way that makes them think they can do things they cannot do. You assume they can do more than they can actually do simply because the sidestepping around rules implies that they can do more than they can do. Okay, true-false question number 3. The reason there isn't a long list of risks accompanying supplemental products is because there aren't any risks associated with them. True or false? False again. The absence of that big, long encyclopedia of risks that you get with a pharmaceutical product does not mean that there aren't any risks. It just means that the supplement industry doesn't have to tell you about the risks. It's all about industry standards. If they don't have to tell you that an herb thins your blood, they don't. It's that simple. They only do what they have to do. That's why some people push for stricter standards. Look, it's unfortunate, but it's just human nature to divulge only what you have to divulge. And you can try to cut corners wherever you can. If you're a manufacturer and you sell a product in order to make money, and divulging that the product has a risk will result in lost sales of your product, and you aren't required to divulge the risk, You're probably going to conceal the risk and sell a lot more product and pocket the money. Face it, money drives people to do unethical things. And even though all these products and manufacturers are part of the wellness industry, they do not do what's healthiest for either you or your pocketbook. Their focus is on the health of their own pocketbooks. Okay, question number 4. The risks of products within the supplement industry are minor. That's why there's no requirement to divulge them. True or false? Well, I guess this one depends on your definitions of minor and major. You tell me, here are some of the risks of various supplemental products. Blood thinning to the point of bleeding easily, low blood pressure, high blood pressure, liver toxicity, allergic reactions, chest pain, and death. So what do you think? Are they minor? I think most people would say they're major. Okay, how about this one? Testimonials about the effects of supplemental products are as good as scientific proof. True or false? Do I need to explain this one? I mean, a testimonial is one person's comments about a product. You have no idea as to whether that person is a real consumer of the product or a paid actor. You have no idea as to the circumstances under which that person used the product in comparison to how you will use the product. A testimonial is merely one single person's statement as to the product's benefits. It's actually surprising how many people believe testimonials over scientific facts or studies. Be careful. The person giving the testimonial has no more credibility than you do in assessing the product. Maybe that's why you relate to them. You think they're just like you. The reason the supplement industry uses testimonials is because they do not do any scientific studies. There is no research. And again, that's because it costs money to do research studies. Manufacturers will not spend that kind of money. Okay, one final quiz question. You can accomplish the very same goals for menopause using either HRT or over-the-counter products such as vitamins, minerals, supplements, and herbs. True or false? False, false, false. This misconception gets a whole lot of women into a whole lot of trouble. Over-the-counter products, whether they be vitamins, minerals, supplements, or herbs, can decrease certain symptoms of menopause or decrease your risk for one of the diseases associated with menopause. But no single supplement can do as much as HRT can do. And even if you took all the supplements, it wouldn't do all that HRT could do. Supplements aren't bad and they aren't worthless, but this tendency to assess them against HRT in an either-or manner is a big problem. They are not an either-or matter. Never assume that you can use any or even all over-the-counter products and alleviate all your symptoms of menopause. And never assume that you can prevent heart attack, osteoporosis, or Alzheimer's using supplements only. You see, that kind of mistake will leave you with all 3 diseases as you mutter, how did this happen? I thought I was doing everything right. And frankly, unfortunately, I have heard that way too often. So there you have it. These are the surprises in the supplement industry. So here's a recap of what they are. Number 1, vitamins, minerals, supplements, and herbs are regulated by the manufacturer, not by the FDA, which means